Welcome to the Title II Digital Accessibility Guidelines series. Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act requires web content to be digitally accessible. If you work for a public entity, like a state, county, or city government agency, or you are an engineer contracted on a project for a public entity, this rule will affect how you create online materials. In this video, part 1 of the series, we will explain what the Title II guidelines say, how it will affect you and your writing, and what it means to create documents that are Title II compliant. Additional videos in this series will cover other aspects of Title II, such as visuals. Title II is a rule that requires public entities to comply with Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, specifically the WCAG 2.1 Level AA standards. Web content encompasses documents, videos, images, and sound on websites, as well as mobile applications. Simply put, these standards mean that digital content must be perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust for people with disabilities. These guidelines matter and ensure accessibility to users with screen readers, keyboard-only users, users with low vision, and users who may have other disabilities. We have provided links to the web standards and resources for understanding Title II in the description box below. As an engineer, you will likely encounter situations where you will need to meet the guidelines for this rule. For example, if you work directly for a public entity, such as a Department of Transportation, City Facilities and Management Department, Transit Authority, or a public park, you will soon need to produce WCAG compliant web content. This rule is also relevant to any engineering companies contracted to work for public entities to whom this rule applies. For example, if your company contracted to do a traffic study for your state Department of Transportation, documents you produce will need to be compliant with web standards for publishing your report. While the web standards apply to many types of digital content, in this video, for part 1, we are focusing on documents that will be hosted on websites or online portals. You may be wondering, how can I make a document accessible? The WCAG standards have success criteria for making documents accessible. These criteria include using a proper heading structure, using built-in word processor tools for lists, equations, or figures, identifying header rows for tables, having meaningful hyperlink text, providing metadata for documents, writing alt text for visuals, having sufficient contrast for legibility, and composing documents in a logical reading order. Although many document programs exist, ensuring Title II compliance for the documents you produce is made easy with Microsoft Word. This word processor has many built-in features that, when used, help you create documents that will meet accessibility requirements. In the next section, we will show you how to satisfy accessibility guidelines using some of these features in Word. First, documents need a hierarchy for readers to understand the organization. To create a hierarchy, use the built-in styles, not manual formatting. Do not manually change font size, bold text, or adjust spacing to create headings, like the example shown on the screen. Instead, use Word's built-in styles function to designate text as title, headings, subheadings, and body text. Click on the Styles pane in Word, then select the text you want to mark as a style, and then click on that style in the Styles pane. Heading styles create a navigable outline that a screen reader can parse to allow users to understand the structure of the document. It will also allow you to create an automatic table of contents and let users click to find information they are looking for. Next, lists you need to include in text must be created using the correct tools so that the structure can be read accurately. Some writers manually type hyphens or numbers to create the appearance of a list, but this approach means that the text will not be accurately recognized as a list by assistive technology. Instead, always use Word's built-in bulleted or numbered list tools. When you use the list function, Word encodes the list structure into the document, and a screen reader can then announce how many items are in the list and indicate when the list begins and ends. Similarly, if your document includes equations or mathematical or scientific symbols, you should use Word's built-in equation editor. Do not insert equations as images, screenshots, or copied and pasted text. Images are not machine readable and cannot be interpreted by assistive technology. When you use the built-in equation tool, Word generates a structured mathematical markup, and this allows assistive technology to interpret the equation and read it in a logical order. Third, any tables in the document need to be formatted accessibly. Tables should be used only for presenting data. They should not be used for layout or visual positioning of text. Using tables this way can create confusion for screen readers. When creating a table, always designate a header row. In Word, this can be done in the Table Design tab by selecting Header Row. Header rows allow screen readers to associate data cells with their corresponding column headings. Without the designated header row, users may hear a series of numbers or text entries without any context. Fourth, when inserting hyperlinks into documents, use specific text. Having descriptive text describing the purpose of the hyperlink allows people using screen readers and other assistive technology to have clarity on the purpose of the link. For example, instead of writing, "Click here" for the document, you should instead write, "View the Title II guidance document." Our fifth success criteria tip is to provide metadata for your document. Metadata enhances document discoverability through tags, letting users know the document title and author, which usability features the document supports, and if the document complies with WCAG standards. Microsoft Word allows you to edit metadata under the File tab by selecting Properties. There are more accessibility success criteria than we can cover in this first short instructional video, but our final tip can help you address as many as possible. Before finalizing a document, run Microsoft Word's Accessibility Checker. You can find the tool under the Review tab by selecting Check Accessibility. The checker will identify errors, warnings, and tips. Errors represent issues that must be corrected for compliance. In conclusion, accessibility is not simply a legal requirement. It is a reflection of professional responsibility and inclusive practice. You can meet new web content accessibility guidelines for documents by using the existing built-in tools in word processors. These ensure that your documents are structured, navigable, and machine-readable. In our next video in this series, we will dive into accessibility for the visuals you use in engineering documents, including figures and drawings. Stay tuned!